The lie board here.
Hey, how come you do the lie board?
So we're going to find out, we're going to do a little pitch shot here, and we're going to find out which part of this wedge here you're actually making contact with the ground. We want you to be using the bounce when you're doing pitch shots and chip shots. And the bounce is this back flange here, okay? You got the leading edge, and you got this high point back here. This is the bounce. Your iron has 9 degrees of bounce, okay? So if I were to put this shaft vertically, there's 9-degree angle right here, so I could fit probably, 10 sheets of paper underneath it. When you lean the shaft forward 9 degrees, now there's 0 degrees of bounce on here. So for all of you that get stuck with your wedges and you have too much shaft lean and you come in too steep and you get a bunch of grass in between the face and the ball and your ball only goes 10 yards, then you're going to want more bounce typically, okay? This is considered about mid to low bounce, so we're going to find out. We're going to have you do some pitch shots here, and we're going to find out which part of the wedge you're actually entering the ground with. Hopefully, it's the back part of the flange. Okay. I'm going to have you hit off this lie board, and it's just going to be one of these little pitch shots, like a little 30, 40 yarder. And we're going to see where it makes a mark, whether it's going to be on the toe side or heel side, and if it's on the front or the back. It's a little 30, 40 yarder here. Distance doesn't matter too much. Good. All right, let's see what we're working with here. Leading edge, okay? Let me show the camera. Well, it's ideally for more forgiveness, instead of having that line hit the front of the wedge here, we would want it to hit the back of the wedge here. So she's contacting with the leading edge. In order to use the bounce, when you hear that from instructors, they want you to use the back part of the flange, okay? The leading edge is what hit the ground for her, and if she doesn't hit ball first, and she hits ground before the ball, then this club is going to get stuck in the ground. And then the ball, well, I know it, right? As long, 100%. So your technique, after watching you had shaft lean, and you were making sure that you had the shaft through the zone like this. And you better catch the ball first, because if you don't, that club's just going to get stuck, right? Okay. Most of your best players in the world will have a more vertical shaft, okay, and they're trying to return the shaft to vertical, whereas you had more here, right, and it was more of a handle drag, and because of that, you have to catch ball first, okay? If you use the bounce and return a little bit more loft, then it's going to be way more forgiving. You could actually hit the ground an inch behind it and still get away with it, and that's why players do that. So especially at an address, you're going to want to feel like that shaft is very upright. Yep, good. And try to return it to there. Okay. Yep. Nice. That's more using the bounce. Ta-da! Okay. So, first technique, she was using the front of the wedge here, and if she doesn't catch ball first, it's game over. This time, she hit the ground using the back of the flange, using the bounce, okay? That's what we want to use, because that's a skid plate. This will hit the ground, and then that club will just slide right through the turf, okay? This club came through like that, and it's actually going to lean forward and slide. Whereas the first action she had, it would actually just get stuck. On this, it's going to slide through because there's no grass and dirt. But outside, that club would get stuck with that first action, okay?
That happens especially on
tight lies, yes, 100%. Because on tighter lies, most people are afraid of the ground because there's no room underneath it. So what do? They lean the shaft forward to make sure that they're hitting the ball first. But most people that chip will lean to the right, bump the hips forward, and hit the ground back here. Whereas with chipping, we want to feel like the hips are more underneath us. We want the body over top, and we want the shaft very vertical, and we are trying to return that shaft. It's almost like we're casting a little bit. We are releasing the head sooner, and then we pair that with a turn, and then it looks beautiful and it matches up with our belt. But technique determines bounce. All right, if I have a player that has a lot of dynamic loft at the bottom, then it's okay to put them in a lower bounce wedge, because we want that leading edge still low. We don't want it digging, but we want it low. But if I have a player where all they're going to do is put it off the back foot and they're going to hit down on it like that, that's fine, but we're going to need to put them in a wedge that has higher bounce. That ball should be at least center to forward, right? Yeah, 100%, right? I've seen a lot of players that can put it back in the stance, but there is a fine line of success in unsuccessful shots. I mean, you see this all the time, right? We see that all the time. Yeah, that's exactly right. We digger because the ball is to the right of the sternum, that club is automatically on the way down. The more forward it is in the stance, the more we can come through level at 0, and we can pick it nice off the ground, and you can get that audio that you're looking for. If you can use the bounce, it's okay to hit behind the ball. But if you're not using the bounce, it's going to tear you up.